Yeah, you can do thumbs up. Hi guys, welcome to Office Hours. My name is Rahul. I'm a Udacity coach,
I'm Anthony.
also a Udacity coach. And today we're going to be talking about some cool things that you can do with programming. So what is it that we're doing today? Well, one of the cool things about programming that I find is that you don't realize all the things that you can do with it, especially like Python. And I realize that the projects that you guys are probably doing for IPND might seem like specific to what it is you're being asked to do. So with this project, this kind of mini project, we're going to be showing you how to create an alarm clock using Python.
Didn't you have to make an alarm clock in a very practical sense,
Yeah.
very recently?
So it's a funny story. I don't generally make alarm clocks just for fun. What happened here was I was on vacation recently and I accidentally dropped my phone in the ocean. Things happen. And it wasn't too bad of an ordeal. I just dropped my phone. But when I was coming back to the States, I had a 4 a.m. flight back home, and I really wanted to get some sleep, but didn't have an alarm clock. Also, didn't have internet. So that kind of was awful.
Struggles of the modern world.
Yeah, there you go. So what I kind of decided on doing so that I can get some sleep and also wake up in time for my flight was use my computer to create a Python program using not only Python, but a built-in scheduler called Cron, which allows you to schedule a program to run at a certain time of day. And today we're going to show you how to use Cron in addition to Python to make this kind of scheduled alarm clock of sorts, as long as your computer remains on. So
cool.
Yeah.
You want to show us how you did it then?
Yeah, guys. So let's get down to it. It's a very deceivingly simple program, but let's pull that up.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. This always eludes me.
It's on the right. Not there. The photo.
There we go. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. And that is the cron job that we're not getting to just yet. So as you can see, this is a very, very simple program. We got 3 lines of code here. And but each of these 3 lines are very important, and I think that there's some things that that's important about this very simple program, that is. So the first thing that you see here is the import statement for importing the OS module. OS stands for operating system, and what that allows us to do is do a variety of different tasks that are intrinsic to the operating system functions. So what I mean by that is this OS module is just a library of different functions.
Yeah. So I was going to say some students who are in stage 3 have probably seen these import statements and probably specifically the import OS module before. The students in stage 2 maybe haven't. And imports are something that has been seen through a lot of different programming languages, a lot of different times in programming, and it's just a very nice, easy way to take advantage of code that other people have written.
Right. And in this case, it does a lot of complex work, some low-level hardware access that you don't want to kind of code up yourself. So here we're deciding to use OS, and the specific function that we're going to use is system. And what this function does is it kind of internally opens up your terminal and executes the command that you have in a string here. So what you can see that I'm doing here is I'm using the Unix command called open, which opens the subsequent file that I then name here. And what I've named here is the absolute path to a song file. A song file that I conveniently placed in my desktop.
What do you mean by absolute path?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. An absolute path is basically how your computer finds things. It's how your computer, it's basically an address, your full address, you could say zip code and everything, to a certain part of your computer. And here I'm telling my program to go into the users directory, also known as folder, and go into my home directory, which is my name, my desktop, which then has my MP3 file, which I've renamed to you. And after this system has executed this particular function, I exit. I don't have to exit, but I just do that. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. It's deceivingly simple because it does a lot of cool things internally, but it's just one of the simple things you can do to run your program. So yeah, we've chosen the song, and if you guys are wondering how to actually find your absolute path, all you have to do is go into your terminal window and type in pwd. I don't have that right now. I just got to switch screens, so it might be a little annoying, but pwd will get you the absolute path, and you can just copy and paste that. So what else?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you've got this code. Obviously, it seems like what that's gonna do is open some MP3 that you have on your desktop. But that's not really an alarm clock, right? That's just an alarm.
Yeah.
You're gonna be sleeping. How are you going to get this program to execute at the time that you want it to, like at 7 a.m. or knowing you maybe like 12 p.m. So.
Yeah, I need afternoon naps. Well, that's where the cron job comes in. But right before we run the cron job, I just want to run this program, see if it actually works. And it is playing music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what is this cron job that you're talking about?
Right. So going to this cron job, a cron job is, like I said earlier, it's a scheduled task that. Oh, sorry. Let's switch to the actual cron file. So before I note what it is in this file, I just want to talk a little more about what a cron job is. And I mentioned that it's a scheduled task that repeats a command in terminal at certain times you set during the day. So you might be asking, why can't you just run this program and set a specific time of day that inside the program itself, that runs this program? But that kind of consumes resources for your computer, and just
right, that's a process that's running the entire time, right? From 10 p.m. when I turn on my alarm clock to 7 a.m. when it goes on, that program would have to be running and running and running, which is intensive on your computer after a while.
Exactly.
Even if it's doing nothing, you don't really want that.
Yeah. So for that reason, we use cron jobs, which are also known as daemon. And a daemon is a background process that happens on your computer. A lot of the processes that happen on your computer aren't in what's known as the foreground, which basically means in front of you. They happen in the background, and that's what this cron job is doing. So before I dive into this this text file that you're saying, I just want to note that this cron job, the idea of a cron job and the functionality of a cron job is only intrinsic to Macs and other Unix-based systems, that is like Linux and OS X. So if you have a Windows computer, you can see that we're going to share a link that allows you to do this schedule task without programmatically doing it. So you're going to have a user interface that allows you to click and actually do the scheduling. Okay, so finally, let's go to this text file. And you notice that the extension is a text file that we're writing all this in. That's an important part of this whole functionality, because it just takes care of a lot of overhead for us. that I won't exactly talk about here because it's not really important. Now, the first line in my program is mail to Rahul@udacity.com. All this line is doing is just it'll send me an email if there's something that's wrong in my program, which
That's
is
nice of it.
Yeah, they're very thoughtful.
What a thoughtful cron job.
Right, that's very nice. And now this next line is the meat of the entire thing. You'll see that what I have here is 37 and a bunch of stars, and then this command. So the last thing in this line, and this line is the only thing that schedules the command that you want to run every time. The last thing in this line is the command that you run every time. And the command I want to run every time is just Python users at Rahul, and that should also say, oh yeah, so no. So this is the location of my Python file, which is in my home directory, which is in amongst the users of this computer. So
that's just like a terminal command, right? Like
Yeah.
if you were to run this code yourself on the terminal, you could write down that exact same command and execute it.
Exactly.
You're just asleep, so you can't.
Yeah, the cool thing about this is like you could execute anything you normally would on a command line. So it might not be like an alarm clock you want to open up. You might want to run some other program like start of the day, like a program that just randomly starts when someone else is using your computer, and you could terrify your friends out there. So
Wow, I was thinking something like, I don't know, you can run like something to update a database every single night, and so that your like company works, but like
that also is cool. I like to play tricks on our friends. But so that's that last line. That's not the last line, but rather the last component of this. Now, this part can be a little tricky.
Going on there?
Yeah, this is a little tricky. So each one of these 5 things kind of designates a different time period. So the first column, the first number that you have here is representative of minutes. So, and the second column is hours. This third is like how many days of the year. This fourth is what month of the year. And this last one is on what day of the week you want this to run. So the reason we have 3 stars here is that mean it is because we want this to run every day of every month of every year of every week. So that's what star kind of signifies in programming. It just basically means
Catch all.
Yeah, catch all. And you'll see here that we kind of have to read this backwards as 7:30 because we have 7 hours in the day 30 minutes. So what this cron job will do is every day at 7:30 in the morning, it'll raise my alarm. And I actually used this morning unintentionally, but it worked.
You forgot you were doing this webcast and your cron job was running.
Yeah, it's funny enough. Like my computer was just on and it ran. That's really the gist of it. It's a very simple program to do, and again, you could set this at any time of the day. I could put 15, which in military time means 3:30 in the afternoon. And one thing I can do is actually set this for, let's set this for today so that we can see that it actually runs. So one wise time to do would probably be, let's say 4:16. So we're going to put 16 minutes, and 4 plus 12 is 16 also. So that is
16 hours.
4:16 at 16 hours. Okay, so let's save this.
While we're waiting for this alarm clock to execute, how do you tell your computer to start paying attention to a cron job, right?
That's
Like,
great.
is it like as soon as you save this and the fact that it has cron in the title, all of a sudden your computer's like, oh, I need to do this all the time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's move into this program here. Sorry, I just want to move to there. Clear all this stuff up. Okay, so now we're in my folder that has the Python file, the alarm.py, and alarmcron.txt, which is where we put the cron job. So the command to do this in any Unix-based system is cron tab. If you want to see what cron jobs are running right now, we have this thing that, oops, we want to remove that. Let's clear that. So But that lists all the cron jobs that are currently on your computer. And what -R does, it removes all the cron jobs that are currently on your computer, so that if we look at this, there is no cron tab for myself. So to set it, all we have to do is type in cron tab. Oops.
Alarm cron.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Alarm cron. And now this is automatically set the cron job. So we see that this is running, and it should run within the next minute, executing my Python command if everything works well. Otherwise, I'll get an email to my email address here. Okay, let's see if this is running. Maybe it's already running.
So I saw that you have your Python file in make an alarm clock directory, but you have it set to be in your home directory. Is that true on this computer?
Yeah, good catch, Anthony. So that's the problem here. It's really necessary to get the absolute path.
So this is a good time to use PWD. There we go. We can demonstrate that.
Excellent. Okay, so let's copy that and then replace this.
Oh, probably the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. Yeah.
If you guys can see that, it just says like alarm clock / alarm.py.
Or you're sharing your terminal, so they can't see anything.
Brutal. Let's just share this really quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
For now, I'll just share the entire screen. So remember, we have to change the time now because I kind of messed up. So let's put that as 17. Hopefully, we got some seconds here.
Well, it's already 4:17. Maybe you want to do 18.
Okay.
I'm working against the clock.
Really? Really, we are.
Most intense webcast ever.
Okay. Hopefully, we got a minute of breathing room here. So we've set that. Now I'm going back to my terminal. Hopefully, you guys can see that. And let's clear this up. And
do you have to, so you changed the cron job, do you have to re-add it, or does it already know that it's running that? So if you do cron tab -L, is it going to show, let's see.
What do you guys think? So
I think it's going to be cool and automatically update. I hope so.
Nope,
oh, it's
nope,
not.
it's
Wow.
not.
Okay, well, you better do it before 4:18 then.
That is the problem here. Okay, so we've removed all the cron jobs at this point. So
dude,
now we're
go.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Wow, made it.
So now the cron job is set, and hopefully in the next 30 seconds it will run. It's kind of a problem because, okay, there we go. So you get to listen to
Rahul's Douchey Parties playlist.
Sorry, guys. I got bad taste in music. But hopefully you guys saw that has opened up my program, my iTunes program, because that's my default program for running
MP3s.
MP3s. Yeah. So that was slightly embarrassing, but slightly awesome. Hopefully you guys could get a cool insight into how cron jobs work. And it's very simple. It's just a matter of like setting these particular attributes, and it'll run at any time that you want. And you could think of like a variety of different programs that you'll write through your career that like could run anytime. For example, if you want to set a reminder for yourself for like watching a TV show or doing homework or starting like Chrome
throughout your career.
Yeah, throughout your career.
How to help yourself binge watch Netflix.
Yes, you've got programs to help you do that now because you can ready yourself. Binge watching Netflix. So,
but as we said before, like these are things that actually can be used, and they're used a lot in the real world too.
Exactly.
We have an app that some folks wrote here to help us manage the forums, and part of that is a cron job that runs every few hours to update the database forum posts.
Right, and one of the things I'm writing currently actually collects data every day at a specific time of day, 12 p.m., because it's important to pull that data on a particular time of day so it's consistent. And the great thing about using a cron job is that it's very accurate. It uses your computer's internal clock, which is as accurate as it gets for any program on your computer. And generally, like if you use some other means like Python or some other built-in module, it'll be slightly off from like the internal time. Barely perceptible, but it's still like probably the best way to do any internal task.
Cool.
Do we have any questions at all, or
Yeah, I don't see any questions on the Q&A, but we'll stick around for a little bit.
Yeah.
If folks want to ask anything about Python, importing modules,
About my playlist,
about Rahul's playlist, what his bougie parties are like.
Oh god.
Cool.
No.
I can think of a lot of things that you could do this for. I like your idea of scaring your friends when they open their computer.
Yeah.
But you only showed a cron job that runs by a certain time, right? So does that mean you have to predict when your friend's on their computer, or like can I write a cron job that actually runs when the computer wakes?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
So the problem is that the cron job will only run when it wakes. So your computer has to be on in order for this to work. If your computer is off, obviously it won't run the program, and whatever it is you want it to do won't run.
So what I'm asking actually is so.
Oh yeah, you have to predict your friend.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was asking, because I was wondering, like, so you showed us like I could set a scary monster to appear on your computer at 4:30, but what if I wanted a scary monster to appear as soon as you opened your computer?
Yeah.
You know, regardless of whether that's 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, whatever.
Right. So imagine we wrote a program that can kind of take in data on your own computer.
Collect data about your friends and their computer usage.
Or on their computer. Yeah, sorry, we don't want you to do that per se, but if you want, you can make a program and run multiple commands at the same time. By I think like and also does that on command line. I basically like this using and or
right, that will do that can kind of chain
chain a bunch of commands on the command line or terminal.
So we've got two questions that came in. Gary's asking, so does everything work out of the terminal? And it seems like yes, but without opening a terminal window, is that correct?
Yeah, it doesn't. So I use a terminal kind of as an analogy. Internally, your computer functions using something called your operating system, right? Your operating system is a computer program. It's a program that can do a lot of things in the background. And instead of using a terminal, it uses whatever internal mechanism it has for a cron job to run this program. So it doesn't literally open up the terminal, but using a terminal, that's how we generally like use operating system functions like open and cron tab and ls and cd.
Sure. And then we've also got a question from Ruben who's saying that double clicking on alarm.py opens a window but immediately closes it. I'm going to guess, Ruben, that what you're thinking of doing is double clicking on it to run it. But what might be happening, well, Rahul's code really doesn't do all that much, right? It imports a module, it runs a terminal command, and then it exits. If you're on Windows, I'm not sure if that Unix terminal command is going to work for you. That's actually something I don't know if it's going to do or not. But second, if you just kept it exactly as Rahul wrote it, well, the song located at user/Rahul/desktop/2u.mp3 probably doesn't exist on your computer, so you need to change that to an MP3 file that is on your computer, such that it actually works.
Yeah, hopefully you've used your own file, and it's important to know the location of that file. And just as we kind of did in this demonstration accidentally, copy and paste the correct absolute path.
I'm pretty sure that on Windows, it's been a while since I've actually touched a Windows computer, out of fear. But I believe that the default functionality when you have Python installed is when you double click a Python file, it executes that file and then terminates as soon as that's over. Plus yours has exit at the end, so that it's explicitly being told exit the command right then.
Exactly. If you want, you can take out the exit command and just run the Python file as you would any other Python file, and it should start a computer program. It should start playing using your default music player. If you have a default music player, you probably need iTunes or Windows Media Player or something like that. But you'll also learn how to kind of do a schedule task in Windows using that link that I sent. It's The reason I'm doing it here is A, because I don't have a Windows machine right now, but B, because it's quite simpler, where you go to a control panel and system security, administrative tools, and then you double click on task scheduler. And from there, you should be able to kind of set up a cron job on Windows. So hopefully that clears that up for Windows.
Hopefully.
Issues. Yeah.
Ruben posted his code, taking a look at it. Doesn't look like anything's wrong, though the path looks maybe like it's possibly something going on there. So depending on your operating system, again, pathing is something that a lot of students sometimes struggle with. Basically, it's just like how your file structure gets built from your computer. So every computer has a like root directory. And from that root directory, things kind of just branch out into all sorts of different folders. So like you have like this like root on a Mac, for example, the default is like you have this root, and then you have users, and then you have, you might have Rahul and Anthony and Kelly, assuming we're all using the same computer for some reason. Yeah. And then each of those users has folders like desktop and downloads, etc.
But I think in your case, Ruben, the difference here is that on Windows, when we're looking at the absolute path, where you have to use backslash instead of / unfortunately.
But this, again, I mean, this is actually an issue we may not be able to fully figure out right here. Mm-hmm. The OS is running a Unix-based command, right? And he's on a Windows computer, which does not accept those commands, by default. So
what's the open command on Windows?
Well, either way, is OS compatible? That is a question I don't know the answer to.
Well, it should run like the system commands just the same way as open is run. And I was just informed by Kelly that start should be the command that you use instead of open. And if you try that, maybe it'll work.
Either way, you want to first go into your command line, your command prompt or git bash or whatever you're using, and then do a pwd from the location of your MP3 file and make that your path. Try open, try start, play around with it, and then I'm sure something will work out.
Yeah, exactly. The Windows equivalent of finding the absolute path, usually like the absolute path is already there on the command line as you're looking at it, but pwd using some sort of like Unix-based shell, as you have to for the new IPND, you can go into like git bash, type in pwd, like Anthony's saying, and that's how you get the absolute path. But hopefully it gives you the correct look, like the backslash and whatsoever.
System differences are weird.
yeah, it's kind of a pain. It's just really a legacy of the fight between Apple and Windows back in the day.
And that's why Bash is coming to Windows.
Oh yeah, so that's
soon this problem will be behind us.
Yeah.
We hope.
Eventually.
I hope.
If they can't make money out of it. So if we're, I think we're kind of like done with this demonstration, but there's, again, like a lot of cool things that you can do with schedule tasks. And maybe you want to use this alarm clock just in case you're in a terrible situation like I was, without a phone and internet and people who speak English. So yeah. Okay, sweet.
We got one more question. Russell's saying, being developer, would you guys prefer Linux or iOS over Windows? I think probably means OS 10.
Yeah.
I don't mean to start a debate. Simple answer is fine.
Yeah.
Well, most people I think would argue that Linux and OS 10 are more developer friendly. But I don't know how much of that is like a bias just based on the fact that a lot of developers have Unix-based backgrounds, which is so Unix is a like kind of overarching idea of operating systems, and both Linux and OS 10 are Unix-based. So they're very similar. Linux and OS 10 are much more similar than they are to each other than they are to Windows. So
Right.
It's probably like a legacy of that more than anything.
So I will also say though that using Linux and Unix, any Unix-based system, you're able to access certain parts of your computer that Windows otherwise kind of hides from you. So, for example, like you can't create a cron job as far as I know on Windows. Like that's one of the things that Windows forces you to use graphic user interface for. So that's just one example, but there are other things that you really can't do programmatically without like getting explicit permission.
And of course, this doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a Mac or like you have to go out and install Ubuntu on your PC or anything like that. Developing on Windows is a totally normal thing. It's a thing a lot of people do. It's a thing a lot of people prefer. It's just a personal preference. Mm-hmm. It ultimately doesn't really matter. The important things you'll be able to do on either system. And my argument probably just that the legacy thing more than anything.
Yeah, and my short follow-up will just be that Windows is used for a lot of like graphic design and game design, not game design, but game development, like using Unity and anything with graphics really, because Windows is written in C#, which is that perfect language for that. Yeah, any more questions, guys?
Ruben just followed up saying that he tried in the terminal doing start to the path and that worked.
Cool.
So not sure if that will work in the code too or not.
Yeah, it should.
I would imagine it should.
Yeah.
I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't. And then if it doesn't, I don't know why. So
yeah, the system command.
Hey, it worked. Yay.
Yes. Awesome.
Good job.
Great. And again, like, on a nice note. Okay. So yeah, I hope you guys can like experiment with that. It's not gonna like destroy your computer or anything, so feel free to try that out and see other things that you could do with it. Cron jobs and just other like system processes that you can use with Python, and try to use that in any situation that you might need, I don't know, some like electronic device for.
Cool.
Okay.
All
So
right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.